Hey everyone, welcome back to another session regarding Google Assistant, and welcome back to another session for the Google Digital Days MENA. My name is Sachin, a Google developer expert, and in this session, we'll actually cover how to build actions without writing a single line of code, but actually deploying your specific action as well. So we'll be looking at actions template or template actions for the Google Assistant. So, quick brief intro about myself. My name is Sachin Kumar. I'm a Google developer expert. I'm also the Chief Technology Officer of Tuplo Life, which is a connected healthcare company based out of Dallas, Texas. I also head the Google Developer Group's Doha. And as part of this whole situation that we're all going through, I still wanted to connect with the community and contribute as well. So I've started a new YouTube channel called Tech with Such. So do feel free to go and have a check out the new developer series, especially on the Google Assistant, and where we'll be releasing an episode every week. So I'll probably share the links in the chat window as well as we move on. So this is what I was talking about from a Tech with Such YouTube channel. I've already released 2 videos on how to build actions as well as how to build an action using the new actions template called the Personality Quiz 2. So you'll be learning a lot about how to build an action for the Google Assistant using the actions template in today's session. And probably by the end of this session, even probably within half an hour, you'll all be able to build and deploy an action onto your Google Assistant. So before we actually start building, let's go back and see what a Google Assistant is. So Google Assistant is your own personal virtual assistant from Google that helps you get things done in the most useful and helpful manner, right? I'm sure that many of you over there who has an Android phone or an iPhone would have already tried Google Assistant. If not, now is the right time to do that. It's really great. I use it personally every day, and it can get right from setting your appointments to your setting reminders to making sure that everything in your daily life, like smart home automation, or even actions that you create if you want to interact with your assistant, the Google Assistant is a great place to do that. So as developers, I'm pretty sure that most of you guys who have tuned in would like to build something for the Google Assistant. And if that's the case, why do we need to build something for the Google Assistant? What is it in for developers like us to actually go ahead and build something for the Google Assistant? So as you can see, it is readily accessible across more than 1 billion plus devices. It's available on Android phones, the iPhone, Google Home, and other voice-activated speakers, Android TVs, cars, Chromebooks, wearables, and even smart displays. And the number of these platforms and devices will continue to grow, meaning you can reach a continuously expanding addressable audience and assist users in more contexts. So let's say, for example, if I talk about my daily life, when I wake up, again, I interact with my Google Assistant. I have a specific command, say, hey G, I'm not going to trigger a lot of devices out there. Let's say I say, hey G, what's my day look like today? Or when I say good morning, it will automatically start doing a set of routines, like read out the news, play the music, and turn off all the lights in the house. So set of things like that, right? And from there, I move on to my car, where the assistant is still available to me in the form of the Android Auto available in cars. So then again, you interact with it. I say play the daily news or listen to music while I head over to my office. At the same time, it will also tell me that what's my commute look like, and what's the traffic situation in that case. Once I'm in the office, if I feel that I've left something, probably I didn't lock my door, I can probably ask the assistant, look, lock the front door, and it would probably lock it. So again, with a lot of these devices that's out there with the Google Assistant integrated, it's a great example of how you can have your own virtual personal assistant that can help you get things done in the most useful manner. And again, from a developer standpoint, this is very important as well. Actions are now available across all of these different languages across 80 countries. And these lists keeps growing day by day. So make sure to go and check this out. But just the fact that you have the ability to reach different people in different parts of the world just with the one that you're coding today is just amazing. And we will also cover how we can code to different languages or design your actions with different languages. So when we talk about the Google Assistant, just think about it in this way. We have three parts in this platform, right? The first one is the Google Assistant itself. So the Google Assistant is nothing but the conversation between you and Google, right? So it's your own personal virtual assistant that enables conversation between you and Google to get things done. And there are a lot of devices with the Google Assistant built in. So as I said earlier, these include your Android phones, iPhones, your smart speakers, smart displays, your wearable devices. You have all of these array of devices that's out there with the Google Assistant built in. And finally, you have Actions on Google. So what is Actions on Google? Actions on Google is the developer platform that can extend the functionalities of the Google Assistant. So most of you who have already, let's say, built or have already interacted with Google Assistant, you know that the assistant can do certain things already built in. A lot of the questions that you actually ask the assistant, it can give you back with a very prompt reply, as well as, let's say you want to say jokes or something, it will also give you that kind of feature. Now, apart from that, let's say you are a developer, you're building an app, or you already have an app, but you want to extend that functionality using the assistant, you can do that. So there are different ways how you can reach your users. You can also design conversational actions. So again, for people who's wondering what is an action, think about it in this way. As developers, we are used to having the analogy of applications or app. So from a voice application standpoint, we call it an action. Everything that you're doing is an action for the Google Assistant. So it's the same like an app, but again, an action. I can see that in the comment section that there is no Arabic language in the list. Just so that you know, the Google Assistant is already supported in Arabic as well. So do check it out. But building an application with Arabic built in, the team is still working on it. And moving forward, so Actions on Google is the platform where you as developers will go immediately, try and design your actions, and extend the functionalities of the Google Assistant. Right? So that's the one platform where you go to basically build your own action or application for the Google Assistant. So conversations. So again, this is just a quick refresh from our previous sessions that we did on the Google Assistant. So in terms of conversations that we know, we built rich conversational experiences for the Google Assistant using some of the tools that we designed earlier in the previous sessions, which was Dialogflow, right? So Dialogflow is a platform where you design your conversational conversations, and then Actions on Google is a platform where you create an action and deploy that specific action. So everything to do with conversation as well as building your own voice first application or action is between these two devices, which is Dialogflow and Actions on Google. So for today's session, for people who are wondering, am I going to use Dialogflow today? You don't really need to. You don't even need to design your conversations using the Dialogflow platform, which is, to be fair, Dialogflow is an amazing tool. You can actually design your own conversations using intents, entities, and integrations with Google Assistant. But apart from all that, if you're looking to build something, look, I have a great idea. My action is it needs to do X, Y, Z. But that specific action is very similar to what I have seen the Actions on Google platform provides in terms of templates. So how can I build something very similar to that? That's where the Actions template comes into play. So for people who are wondering what Dialogflow was, so think about this. From a voice application standpoint, it's very difficult for our application to understand what the user intends or what the user is actually speaking of, right? Think about this specific sentence. I just want everyone to just read this through. Well, it's kind of cold outside, so I'd like something to warm me up, like a hot soup, and I want it fast. So if you actually speak this to the Google Assistant, provided that you built an action for this as a recipe recommendation, you will see that as a programmer, for us to parse and understand this specific sentence, you can see the conversation had cold, warm, hot, and fast all at the same sentence. But everything to do with this conversation, one single conversation, it's all the cold, warm, hot, and fast is completely out of context with what the food is about, right? So for us to understand something like this, that's where Dialogflow comes into play. So Dialogflow is a conversational design platform where you can pretty much design your conversations just like this, and it will automatically understand, or you can actually tell Dialogflow, this specific intent means this. These are the entities, cold, warm, hot, and fast. So cold here meaning it's kind of cold outside. He's talking about the weather. So something to warm me up is again nothing to do with the recipe. But hot soup and wanted fast means these are the key information that you need to gather so that you understand what the user intends. So if you're wondering how to build using Dialogflow, I would highly recommend to go and check the previous MENA Digital Days sessions on Actions on Google, or you can also go to YouTube and search for Tech with Such. There are the first tutorial is about that. So from a conversation standpoint, you have the ability to create your entire conversations using Dialogflow. So we learned about that. Now I can see in the comments, is Dialogflow only to design actions on Google Actions? To answer that, probably not. The Dialogflow is a conversation design platform. Yes, in terms of its integration, Google Assistant is one of its core integrations, but you can build something in Dialogflow and deploy it across various platforms. I'm talking about Google Assistant, I'm talking about Facebook Messengers, Skype, Slack, Twilio, anything there's a lot of integrations out there that's already available. So do check that out if you're interested. So before we actually come back, move to the actions on the actions template, this is what we'll be doing. So from a conversation standpoint, as you can see, what happens exactly when you speak to the Google Assistant. When you say, hey G, talk to personal chef, any conversation from there it goes to the Google Assistant. Google Assistant is the one which does the speech to text, NLP, knowledge graph, everything to do with the passing of your voice to text and then understanding where to pass this information is all taken care of the Google Assistant. So from here, the Google Assistant understands that, okay, I need to pass this to Dialogflow, and it will go to our specific agent. And from there, it understands, okay, this is a welcome trigger. It sends back, what are you in the mood for? Well, it's kind of cold outside. Again, that conversation back from the user. Again, speech to text. Then the NLP matching. Within our Dialogflow, it will understand what exactly needs to be done, pass the information, key information, and send back to the user. So this is a typical flow, conversational flow, as you can say it, is between all of these platforms. Say this can be your backend. Right? Now, from all of this, if you actually look at it, you say, okay, this all probably seems a bit more complicated to me at this point because I've not gone through the previous sessions. But just have a look at this. Our next session, or the next part of our session today, is going to be about how we can build something so quickly. I'm talking about even like within 10 minutes or probably 5 minutes, you can actually build an action and have it up and running. Okay, so the way how you do that is using actions template. So if you guys go to developers.google.com/actions or templates, you can actually go over here. So within templates, as you can see, we have different kinds of templates. So we have trivia, we have personality quiz 1, quiz 2. Personality quiz 1 is deprecated. So I would say trivia, personality quiz 2, flashcards, and how to. So as a developer, if you're thinking, well, look, I want to build something like a trivia game. Should I actually go ahead and do something using Dialogflow? You can. But the easiest way that you can actually build is using templates. So the actions on Google's, the actions or the template actions actually gives you a simple way to actually build the entire conversation and have your action up and running. Using what? Just a Google Sheet. Yes, so today's session, we're not going to actually build or write any kind of code, but rather we'll just be actually using a Google Sheet, editing the contents within it, saving it, and updating or uploading that content onto the actions on Google console. Once that is done, your action is already up and running. Okay, so you might ask, what's the benefit out of all this? I'll come back to that. So as I mentioned, you have the personality quiz. So anything that you want to create from a personality quiz, finding different traits and outcomes, you can all use the personality quiz template. From a flashcard standpoint, think about it like, let's say if you're kind of teaching people something and you want to use like flashcards to actually give information, you can use the flashcards template. So for example, it can be like studying the periodic table or something like that, or about biology or any kind of specific topic that you want to actually train the user, you can actually use that. And finally, if you say, okay, I want to build a game. So how can I build a game with trivia-like questions? You can actually use the trivia template. Okay, so where different people can interact with each other and have a game, and then you can have questions, hints. If the person doesn't understand the question or if the person doesn't get it right, the template would even give you a hint of what it is so that you can actually go ahead and the user can respond back. So what are the main features of template? So you can create an action within minutes. So that's the most important thing over here. You can actually get your action up and running within minutes. You can choose a predefined personality. So all of these templates has this option where you can actually predefine like a persona or personality to your action. So if you, by default, you can see that's like a robot, but if you want another character, you can choose that. We'll get to see how that is being done. The next feature is, of course, build without code, because we are not going to code here. We're just going to fill in some Google Sheet, which is actually giving us a template pre-filled information. You as developers can go and just rewrite those contents to what your action should be. And the best part is if you're using the trivia application or trivia template, you can expand to different languages. Okay. So before we actually head down to the Google Assistant directory, so let's actually go ahead and start building one. So the first thing to do is head over to Actions on Google Console, or I would say console.actions.google.com. Okay, so if this is the first time that you're actually going to Actions console, you would find a different screen over here asking you to create your first project. If not, if you have existing projects, this is how it would look. So let's go ahead and create a new project. And let's give it a name. So let's say Actions Template. So the moment you create a project on the Actions console, you'd immediately be brought to this specific welcome page. As you can see, with the Google Assistant, you can do a lot of these information or different themes. So if you're building something for games, you would probably go here. Smart home devices for developers who have their own devices and want to integrate the Google Assistant in it, this would be the place. And you have different themes for it. So for today's session, we'll actually be going and looking into templates. So go ahead and click on templates. And once you click on templates, you can see two different parts. One is games and fun, and the other part is under education and reference. So how-to video is again a new feature or a new template that was released. So let's say if you have a YouTube video which actually shows you step-by-step on how to build something, right? You can actually use that YouTube video and provide the links directly into the Google Sheet so that when you have a Google Assistant action deployed, your action would actually tell the user step-by-step what to do. And this means, especially with screens with displays like your mobile phones or even smart displays. Okay, so for today, I'm gonna do trivia. And again, if you're looking at Personality Quiz 2, you can check out in the YouTube video or my YouTube channel. So the last video that I did was how to build a Personality Quiz 2 template, which actually covers even designing it for smart displays. So for trivia, let's go ahead and quickly click on this template called trivia. So as you can see, this is the Actions console. So we have an overview section, develop, test, deploy, analytics. So everything that you need to do or you need to have for your action is available directly under the Actions console. Okay, I can see some of you are asking for increasing the font. I hope that's better right now. Okay, so going back to the Actions console, just like how you have your, let's say if you're building a Google or an Android application, you have your Google Play Store or Apple's App Store where you actually go ahead and have all of the functionalities that's required to deploy your application as well as test it. So here it's similar to that for voice applications or voice actions, especially for the Google Assistant. We have to go to the Actions console and everything to do with our action is all available over here. So today we'll be developing an action using the actions template. Once we finish the develop section, we can directly test it out in the simulator. So you don't, even if you don't have, let's say, like a smart speaker, you can actually test it out directly in the simulator. So let's go ahead and click on get started. So since we clicked on create a trivia action, let's go ahead and click on get started. So as you can see, what we need to do next is the actions console actually provides us with a template. So this is a sample template, right? So all we have to do is click on this. And then click on copy. So all this is doing is it's taking the generic template for trivia, okay? And then from there, you're actually creating a copy of that. So the first thing that you'll have to do is go ahead and change the topic. So from there to, let's say, amazing trivia game multiple choice, right? Something of what you would want to name your action, you can just give it a name for that, for your Google Sheet. Now, the next thing to do is it has only two tabs. So you have the question and answers and the configuration tab. So for you to actually build your action, all you need to do is to actually work on this specific Google Sheet. There's nothing else that needs to be done, right? So here you can see it's a trivia game. It's a multiple choice specific questions. So the first question here is how long is a chameleon's tongue? You can specify the correct answer over here, just 10 inches. Then the incorrect answers as options, you can actually do these. And if the person is not able to get it right, you can actually go ahead and put some follow-up. So on average, a chameleon's tongue is roughly twice the length of its body. So just like that, from how you want your game to be or what your game is going to be, all you have to do is go and fill in those questions, put the right answers in the correct answers tab, and change your options. And that's all you need to do from the Google Sheet standpoint. And the most important thing is to go to configurations, give it a name. So let's say amazing fun trivia game. How many questions do you want to ask per game? So if you want to change it from 4 to 3, you can do that. And as you enter, you can also see validations like enter a number greater than or equal to 1. Pretty simple, right? So just imagine that we are building a voice application from scratch without even writing a single line of code. All we did is just edit some stuff in the Google Sheet, and you can add in as many questions as possible. And I'll get to the point where there are some design guidelines that you need to consider while doing the specific templates. We'll get to that after this. So let's assume we just change few of these information over here and go ahead and copy this URL. Okay. Go back to our actions console, hit next, and paste the URL. Okay. So what we are doing right now is the actions console gave us a template. We made a copy of that. We edited the contents inside that Google Sheet, and then did the configurations, came back to the actions console, hit next, and we pasted the specific URL of our Google Sheet and hit upload. Once you hit upload, that's it. Technically, right now, we have our action actually completely ready, right? You can see our upload was successful. So let's go ahead and test this out, okay? Okay, so this is the test simulator. As you can see, we have overview. We were under develop. So since we finished configuring everything, we moved on to the test part. So this is where you actually test your action. So this is your test simulator. Again, as you can see on the top right corner. So if you're building for a smart display, this is what it will look like. If you want to see how it would look on a phone, you can do this. On a speaker, again, you won't see any display, but only the voice. Okay, so let's go ahead and test this out. So the way how you test it is by saying, talk to my test app.
Let's test version of my test app. Yay, I'm so excited to play amazing fun trivia game with you today. Deep breath. Here's your first question. Which year was the moon landing? 1969, 1970, or 1966?
Okay, so as you can see, we have all of this, and you would have also listened to the audio that we have, like, before, instead of just a simple conversation response, we actually had an audio play, a music, background music, we had a different voice, all of that going on. So let me just randomly pick one. Okay,
I call that a right answer. Question 2 is coming up. How long can an alligator survive in captivity? 45 years, 50 years, or 30 years?
I have no idea to this question, so let me just click on something.
You almost had it. The right answer is 50 years. Last question on the way. Which author created the character James Bond? Sean Connery, Ian Fleming, or Robert Ludlum?
Just gonna put something.
You just missed that one. It's Ian Fleming. Better luck next time. He was an English author, journalist, and naval intelligence officer. That's the end of this game. Okay, it's time for your score. Nice work, my friend. You got one right this time. Next time, you'll get even more. Let's play again. What do you say?
So I can either click this or I can use the mic and say no. So
I had so much fun. Hope you did too. Bye.
So you'd be wondering, why did I spend 30 minutes actually listening to this guy to build something in 5 minutes? Well, I had to give a background of what Actions on Google is, what's Actions Console, what are the different tools that you have out there to build it. Now, again, from an Actions template standpoint, as you can see, without actually doing much of the effort, you have background music going on, you have your question and answers put in a much more fun manner, and everything is already pre-built because we are using a template. And how is this effective for you as developers? Let's say you want to quickly build this and deploy your action immediately. You can actually use Actions template, and the chances of your action getting approved by Google would be much more higher because you're using a template, right? So typically, I would say once you submit your action to the Actions console for it to be deployed and available to everyone. Right now, this would be available only to you within your account. And if you want, make sure you actually, if you're using the same Gmail account that you're using to build to build your actions, you can actually try the same action in your phone as well. So let's say if your phone has a Google account, the same account that you use to build this action, you can actually try this out. So I have a Google Home here. So hopefully, let's see if this is actually being triggered as well. So hey Google, talk to my test app.
Let's get the test version of my test app. Hi there, let's play amazing fun trivia game again. Deep breath. Here's your first question. How many countries are in South America? 12, 33, or 22?
Cancel. So as you can see, using my Google Home over here, I was able to have the same action deployed onto my Google Home, because since it's still in developer phase and testing phase, you can see it will be available only to your account. Now you want to take this great action and give it to, let's say you want your friends to try it out, you want people with these 1 billion plus devices to actually reach out and try your action. That's, you have to deploy your action. So that's where the deploy section is. Okay. Now, if you actually listen carefully to the conversation that I had with the Google Home, you can see that the second time I had the conversation, it didn't say that, it didn't have the whole introductory part like here, right? So it said that welcome back. So it has understood that I already started using the application, and this is the second time that I'm playing it. So it said welcome back for another game, and the conversations were different. Pretty neat, right? So that's basically how you build an action using the actions template. Few things to keep in mind. If you go back to the develop section, if you would want to give it a specific name, you can, this is where you go and give it. So here you can see we were triggering our action using talk to my test app. Let's say over here, if you want to go and give a specific name. So over here, if I say talk to amazing trivia game, you can do that. You can go and choose that, and you can also choose whether you need your voice assistant to be based on female or male. You have different options over here. Okay. And finally, if you would like to build this, so again, this was just a Google Sheet. How do I go and build something for more languages? So this is where you need to do. You just go and click on modify languages and settings. So because I didn't save this, so let's save this. Okay. And if you would like to build the same application for a different language, you can actually click on modify, choose a specific language. Okay, so these are all the available languages that's out there. Let's say if you want to build for Spanish, click on that, hit save. Okay, you can even go ahead and add locales. So we have English, Spanish. Now go to actions. English, we already did that. Go to Spanish, click on get started. It will give you the same template. As you can see, trivia_es. Let's make a copy of that. For people who think I actually know Spanish, I don't. So this is, so let's say amazing trivia in Spanish. Okay. So we have the same questions translated in Spanish. And again, you can go and translate your own version of what your game should be, the questions and answers and the hints, and have the translation done and paste it. So instead of 4, let's keep it to 2. So that's it. All we are going to do right now is copy this and hit next, paste it, upload the sheet, and you're good to go. So now you can actually test this directly onto the simulator as well. So here you can see that we have a language automatically chosen over here. If at all you would like to go back to English, you can do from this specific section. So within the same simulator, you can check how English would look like and how Spanish would sound like.
De acuerdo. Voy a buscarte la última versión de mi aplicación de prueba.
So as you can see, we have the same thing, but exactly completely in Spanish.
Hola, hola. Juguemos a el divertido juego de preguntas y respuestas otra vez. Vamos con la primera pregunta. ¿Cuáles son las cataratas más altas del mundo? Cataratas Victoria, Cataratas del Niagara o Salto del Ángel?
So I can just choose one of these. So as you can see, this is how it will look on a smart display.
Pues no
Okay.
era eso.
So I'll just cancel this. So I think I've made the point over here of how you can actually use Google Sheets from different languages. Choose the language that you want to build for, update the Google Sheet, upload it, and you're good to go. Right? So this is the most quickest and the fastest way to actually build an action for the Google Assistant. Okay, and since this is based on templates, the approval rate is also higher, and it will be approved. Typically, I would say once you submit an action or deploy an action, it will typically take 2 days. With the current situation, I'm not sure exactly what the response times are, but I could say that once if you're built using templates, there's a high chance that it will be done much more in a quicker manner. So finally, just like how you submit your Android or iOS application, you give short description, full description about what your application is. All of this is very important as well. So you can see both in English as well as in Spanish. Fill in all these checklist, and then once you're done, you can go ahead and deploy it. Okay. For the purpose of this session, I'm not going to go and deploy this specific action, but you can definitely go and deploy it and fill in all these informations that you'd like, and then release your application for all. And finally, you'll also have analytics to see how your actions are doing, how many people are using it, how many conversations. So all those lists would be directly shown in the analytics tab. So now that we are done with actions template, let me go through with some of the comments. Let me know in the comments section if you have any questions. Now will be probably the best time where I can answer a few. Okay, question. Can this be used as an AI chatbot on a website? Well, this is directly for this specific template that you're building is directly using actions on Google platform, and it is specifically built for the Google Assistant. So this, when you build this would be typically available for everyone who has a Google Assistant built in. So be it phones, even your Android Auto cars, your TVs with the Google Assistant built in, all can trigger this. Thanks, it was easy and okay. Of course, the templates are an amazing and an most easiest way to actually build some of these actions. Now I can also quickly show you what was built using Personality Quiz 2 template. So we went through with trivia over here. So the Personality Quiz 2 is a little more interesting one, because unlike as you saw over here, we had under our test simulator, we had a lot of these, let's go back to English. Just check the response over here. If you're using a smart display, let me cancel it. So as you saw over here, it was basically just simple text. I could see like how can you design certain specific thing using templates. Again, templates are limited in certain functionalities, but let's say if you are planning to build something clearly based on like a personality quiz action, you can use the personality quiz to action template. So this one is powered by interactive canvas. So in our previous session, we actually learned about how to build an action using interactive canvas, where we can leverage the power of the web, right? So here, this template behind the scenes, it actually does that. But all it does is once the template is created, you'll have a similar Google Sheet like this, but under configuration, you'll have 3 different sections. So the last section, you can actually go ahead and configure a little more information, right? So that information can be like what the text should look like, what the font should look like, what the background color should look like. So all of that would be available under the personality quiz to template action. Okay. So again, over here, as you can see, very simple. You have Q&A, quiz intro, outcomes, settings, and so the quiz settings and general prompts, that's where you go and change specific information. Okay. So if you have any simple PowerPoint slides, yes, this slide is actually shared in the link. So make sure to go and check out the links that's provided in the comment section. You have all this entire slide directly available in that. Okay, can you show us what the final app would look like, or a product? Is it gonna be a link or what? Okay, that's the beauty of this. Technically, once you deploy your action, any users who has Google Assistant can trigger your action. So let's say we went here and we said we created a trigger name or invocation name. So if I go back to the Actions console and click on Develop, let me go back to my project. So we gave this a name over here. So if anyone says, hey, G, talk to amazing trivia game, your action would immediately be triggered, or give it to your specific name that you want. Of course, don't use this specific name. Again, you have certain guidelines. Do not use brand names. Do not use single words. Make sure it's a multi-word trigger. So as long as your invocation or trigger name is triggered directly with any users who have a Google Assistant, they can directly trigger your action and start interacting with it. Unlike a mobile app where you have your application in your Play Store, they need to download it, install it. None of that happens here. If a person has a Google Assistant, they can directly trigger your action, period. And once you deploy your action, you can always go back to, that's where my slide is. So the Google Assistant directory is there. You can always go here and search for your action. And once you have your action, you'll have a link as well. So from a marketing standpoint, let's say, how would people come to know about your action? You can provide that link to your users. And that link, when they access, will directly take them to your specific action. Okay, is this an alternative to making an application without codes or with codes? Because Okay, so the general idea here is to make sure that you have, if you are targeting users with a specific game or a specific uh, template, that as we saw, we have different templates over there. If you're building something for the Google Assistant and you want to target that 1 billion plus devices, you can quickly go and build your actions based on this. So let's say if your company or business has a brand persona and it's something to do with, the questions or a personality of that, you can actually use some of these templates to quickly get up and running. So how to create a Dialogflow agent? Again, as I said, you can check out the previous sessions, or you can check it out in my YouTube channel. We have it over there. So next is this is how, as I said, this is how you have your actions. So you can directly link to your action from anywhere. Once you deploy your action, you'll find a link. You can copy the link and then give it to anyone. And when they click on it, they would directly go to a screen like this. So when they click try it, again, it will be exactly the conversations that we had, right? So I would actually like you guys to go ahead and try the personality quest 2 template, because you have even more fine-grained control, like adding the ability to add SSML. So what is an SSML? SSML is nothing but speech synthesis markup language. Okay, think about SSML as HTML, okay, but for speech or voice. Now, here you can see we have speak tags. So everything under the speak tags is just like how you have div containers. So here you can say as, interpret as characters, SSML. So instead of trying to make this a word, it will read as characters, SSML. Break time 3 seconds, that means it will give a delay of 3 seconds before actually moving on to the next one. So inbuilt, if you look at these, if we looked at our example over here that we built, you can actually see that there was a audio that played in the beginning, there was a gap, then the introduction part was there, then there was a gap. Based on the answers that we said, there was another ding sound or a specific audio that is being played. So everything behind the scenes is using SSML. So what an SSML would look like or sound like, I just want to show you a quick example.
Come in. Welcome to the terrifying world of the imagination.
So if you look at it, instead of just having a simple conversation as a text response, we had a distant thunder, and before the thunder finished, we had a monster growl, and before that finished, we had like a person walking on the wood, shoe steps. So all of that, when you layer it, you can actually layer it using SSML and parallel media tags. So when you do all of that, you would actually get a much more rich experience from a user standpoint. Of course, your users, you don't want to bore your users with the same response every now and then. It needs to be different. So every time they interact with the application, they get surprised by it. And if you're looking where do I find sounds, you can actually check it out in the sound library. So how do I get started? How do I start building for the Google Assistant? As I said, everything that you need is available in this one slide. So make sure you download this specific slide from the comment section. And each of these links gives you in-depth knowledge of what you need to build applications or actions for the Google Assistant. And with that, if you'd like more questions, if you'd like me to answer some more questions or you want to directly connect with me on Twitter using this Twitter handle. It's Sachin_ATK. I do have a lot of my blogs as well in Medium, as well as articles written directly on my website, which is, let's go over here. It's called techwithsuch.com. So everything to do with all the tutorials that's available over here. Okay. And for people who love reading on Medium, this is the Medium link at SachinDroid8. You can find all the different tutorials on how you can build interactive canvas, how to build your own smart speaker from scratch, to games, Unity, again, chatbot creation, some machine learning APIs, cloud, everything is available over here. You can check that out as well. And finally, as I said, if you're interested in learning more about the Google Assistant, you can definitely check out my YouTube channel, which is called youtube.com/techwithsuch, where we have videos every week. So the personality quiz 2 template is actually available over here. If you would like to see that, you can actually go ahead and check this specific video. And we have another 3 more minutes. Let me see if I can answer a few more questions. So can I add audio of claps, cheers, and so on? Yes, absolutely, you can. So any templates which gives you the ability to add additional information, you can do that. Okay, so this is another trivia game categories. You can go ahead and choose more things like first choice, what's the topic? You can choose the difficulty. You can choose even like which difficulty do you want to start with. Again, these are prompts. You can choose categories and stuff like that, easy, movies, and what's the suggestion chips. So anything to do with if you're on a mobile phone, or even while you are on a template over here, you could see that I was clicking on few chips or suggestions. So you can actually even go ahead and provide them with those things. Okay. So this is another example of that. So everything to do with templates is directly available in this specific link. So make sure you try out or check template actions for the Google Assistant, and you have a walkthrough of each one, and also you have certain notes that you need to follow. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Can you talk about speech synthesis markup language? Okay. So as I said, speech synthesis markup language is just like HTML. So when you are actually sending out a response, so let's say over here, the correct answer is this. And since this template handles the response automatically, check out the personality quiz 2 template where you have the answers as well. So within that, you have another tab. You can actually paste SSML code. So SSML code or tags are basically, it would look something like this. So along with just putting your answer, you can actually give, here you can see that it's a media thing, it's a media tag. Within that, who invented the internet. So begin at 0.5 seconds. Okay. And then the next one is the internet was invented by cats. Again, you have parallel tags. So question plus dot end after 2 seconds of this. Once the question ends, this ID, once it ends, after 2 seconds, speak this one. Then you also have the ability to have audio. So this is where the sound effects comes in. And that's what basically an SSML is. So you have the ability to make your conversations a little more rich and immersive by playing audio and having parallel tags and having sound effects. You can even go ahead and change the tone of how the user needs to speak. Okay. So I think that's all from my end for today's session. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Looking forward to have you guys more on the upcoming sessions. And let me see if I can answer one more question. I think that's it. So hope you guys enjoyed this session and see you guys in the next one.